What is up, ladies and gents? In today's video, we're going to be talking all about Alchemy Pay. We're going to be going over some of the recent news here on Alchemy Pay. We're going to be talking about the price here on Alchemy Pay, what we've seen over the past few days, and what we can expect to see over the next few days. And on top of that as well, I'll be giving you my 2025 price target here for Alchemy Pay. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. Of course, if you're a new viewer here, then welcome to the channel. If you do like this sort of content, hit the like button and subscribe for more. If you are a returning viewer, as always, welcome back to the channel. It's great to see you here. So we're going to dive straight into this video. First, we're going to head over to Twitter. And we're just going to discuss some of the things that are mentioned there. So first thing we're going to mention here is the fact that Alchemy Pay had that event over February the 19th and 20th, basically showcasing Alchemy Pay to all those who attended this crypto event. This tweet is really nice because it summarizes everything that Alchemy Pay have achieved so far. Basically, if you didn't know, Alchemy Pay are already active in 173 countries. They have 300 plus payment channels. They're looking to be registered in Hong Kong as a payments provider. Of course, if that gets accepted, I believe that would be the first crypto company in Hong Kong with that license. So that would be very bullish. May lay the groundwork for other countries to do the same here for Alchemy Pay as well. So that would be really nice. And they're coming up with their own blockchain as well, Alchemy Chain, an angle that we've seen Onyx Coin do as well. Of course, when they have their own blockchain, that means they have more control over their own cryptocurrency as well. And they can do things like burn the token with every transaction, making it deflationary. And so this is generally bullish news here. Of course, they can tailor their blockchain to the specific needs of their customers. So this is a step in the right direction. Of course, on top of that as well, Alchemy Pay, I should mention, have their own AMA coming out tomorrow on February the 27th. An AMA is an Ask Me Anything, and it's a great way to basically get to know Alchemy Pay more. So this is the tweet from Alchemy Pay about it. It's in February 27th in their Discord. There's the link there. Of course, I will also link their Twitter down in the description below. Basically, how these AMAs play out is that the team will just generally talk about the project itself, Alchemy Pay. They'll talk about what plans they have for the future, what we as holders can be excited about for in Alchemy Pay, and just crypto in general. And at some point, you'll probably get a chance to ask the team questions, anything that you want about Alchemy Pay. So it's a really great way, particularly if you have specific questions in mind, or you just want to get to know the Alchemy Pay team better. It could give you extra conviction, to hold in the longer term here on Alchemy Pay. So of course, for most of you who are looking to hold Alchemy Pay or already holding Alchemy Pay but need more long-term conviction, then I would definitely recommend you join this Ask Me Anything. Of course, even if you're a trader, there could be some alpha in this AMA. So definitely do join it. Again, the link for Alchemy Pay's Twitter is in the description down below. On top of that as well, make sure you're following them on Twitter, because at the end of the day, they could post something on their Twitter that could be very bullish and it could really move the price. Of course, we've already seen Alchemy Pay pump quite a few times already in 2025. So, just keep your eye out for what they post on Twitter. Have their post notifications on. If they do announce something bullish, it's going to be reflected in the price. And being sharp with these things could give you a really nice advantage. So that's that with the news. Of course, we're going to head straight onto the price charts now. So the first thing I notice here on the charts is obviously some sort of shorter term consolidation happening here on Alchemy Pay. This could be seen as this sort of consolidation. We have seen this upper trend line here, which is our main resistance here on Alchemy Pay. This has basically been in effect for the whole of February. We've got this resistance here going across. We've had several tests of this resistance now. So the first one here right at the very start, we had this pump here with that Hong Kong crypto event that Alchemy Pay attended, and now we've had a pump quite recently taking the prices up here. And again, same goes for the support. We've had a first test of the support down here. We've had another test of the support in this region here. And now finally, we're testing the support in this level as well. And of course, with this triangle pattern, if we see a potential breakout, so let's say the prices do something like this, we're just going to go on a bit of a shorter term. Let's say we get to this resistance here and we start to see the prices really break out to the upper side of that resistance there. We get a lot of volume, so the volume down here increases. We get a lot of momentum pushing the prices higher here. That could tell us that we've seen a breakout from this triangle pattern that we're seeing. The price target then becomes the first test of support, which was all the way down here on this triangle, to the first test of resistance, which is up here. We drag this to wherever we saw the breakout. So in this instance, let's say we broke out at the start of March, we would expect to see a price target here on Alchemy Pay of nearly 10 cents. That's 192% trade to the upside if this triangle is going to be respected. So basically, keep your eyes on what the price of ACH does in the shorter term. If we start to get towards this level, which currently sits at roughly 3.3 cents, this could spell a potential chance for Alchemy Pay to break out. Of course, if we break out to the downside, which is a risk factor for these triangles, there's always two sides of the coin. We could also see a breakout to the downside if prices start to fall below this level here. Of course, if that happens, we would expect to see a price target here of 0.9 cents as a result from a breakdown of this triangle. So just keep aware of that as well. And of course, as you guys can see, we're nearing the end of this triangle. So we don't have long left before we have to see Alchemy Pay make up its mind. Of course, there's 7 days remaining before we get to the edge of that triangle. And we're going to see Alchemy Pay either break out to the upside of this or break down. So it's going to be very interesting to see which one happens. Of course, on top of that as well, if we just get rid of all those annotations, I'm always keeping in mind as well what happens with the price relative to the Fibonacci levels at the moment. So as you guys can see, Alchemy Pay really loves these fib levels. They've been used as levels of support and resistance countless number of times here on the price. As you guys can see, for example, the 0.786 fib, as the prices rose, they came up to this level almost perfectly on two separate occasions and tested it as a resistance. More recently, you can see that the prices used the 0.618 fib pretty well, and then the 0.5 fib as resistances. And now, as the prices start to head down, we can see that maybe this fib here at 0.382 will be our next support, and that currently lies just under the 3 cent mark. So as the prices head down, we could reasonably expect to see this as a support here, and maybe we see a bounce in the upwards direction. And of course, if we start to see a bounce, then we would expect the 0.5 fib here at 3.4 cents to be our resistance. If we can break past that, next resistance sits here at 3.9 cents. If we can break past that, then we have a resistance here at 4.6 cents, and last one there at 5.9 cents. Of course, the way we use this is that we could potentially see the prices stall at these levels, and of course, if we see something bearish from that, that could mean there's some sort of reversal. And again, if we fall from this 3.82 level, so things get bearish over the next few days, for example, we would expect to see this fib down here at 2.5 cents as a support. If we lose that, then it's a big trip all the way down to 1.9 cents. So and that's kind of how I'm using the fibs in the shorter term. Of course, we can also use them to predict the price if it continues to pump in the upwards direction. You guys can see the most important fib, in my opinion, 1.618 fib, the golden Fibonacci level there, currently sitting at 11.8 cents. So for the time being, that could be quite a convincing target to have here on Alchemy Pay, because as you guys can see, Alchemy Pay has really respected these fib levels. So if it continues to do so, then maybe it gets up to this top level here on the Fibonacci levels in the near future. Of course, this is also supported by the fact that if we zoom out on Alchemy Pay, in the longer term here on Alchemy Pay, what we've seen is this really nice picture, in my opinion. We've got a very strong resistance here on Alchemy Pay that basically looks something like this. As you guys can see, it joins the tops of the price here now for literally the past 3 years, since 2022 there, and we have this really strong support going up like this as well. Of course, if you just have a look at this upper resistance, it's been tested on so many different occasions now. 4 decent times, we can count this one as well. 4th time there just at the start of February, and we've also got this strong support down here as well, been tested at least 4 different times, 3 times in this region, and yet another time at the end of January as well. So we've got a very strong support here. We've got a very strong resistance. And what we want to look out for then is if the prices continue to head up here on Alchemy Pay as a result of that shorter term triangle that I showed you, or with the fact that we're knocking down those fibs. Let's say we get up to the 6 cents level, which is where the resistance currently sits. What we want to do is see how the price reacts. If we see a bounce off of it and maybe a breakout from that upper resistance line, it could trigger off this pattern here. And once it's triggered off, the price target from this pattern would be the first test of support and resistance. Of course, if we drag the measuring tool between those two and drag it to where we could potentially see a breakout, let's just place it once again over the drawing I have made, then we would expect to see the price target there of 39 cents, a 548% trade from when we see the prices break out from this resistance up here. Now, of course, this pattern conventionally is a rising wedge. Of course, we have two trend lines and they're going into each other. And you might be thinking to yourself that you've seen this pattern before, but you thought that it was only bearish. Now, this rising wedge pattern normally presents itself as a bearish pattern, and indeed, if we see a breakout to the downside, which unfortunately is also possible, so do be prepared for a scenario like this if it does ever occur. If we break out to the downside from this pattern, we could see this as the price target, so 0.3 cents here, a 90% drop from where we break down from this. So again, watch that support level there. If we break down from it, this could mean that we could see this price target in play. However, I do think the upside in this particular case is more likely. Let me show you why. Of course, if we have a look at the volume here on Alchemy Pay, let's go on the 1 month chart so you guys can see that actually quite a bit better. And just going on the Binance version of Alchemy Pay here, you guys can see that on the 1 month chart, basically, if we are to see a rising wedge and a potential breakout to the downside, we would expect to see that volume decline. So for the first two peaks, as you guys can see here on the price, the volume actually did decline. So it started to look like a real rising wedge. However, on this third peak that we saw with the prices heading to the resistance on the third occasion here, we actually saw the volume rise. This is quite uncharacteristic of rising wedges. Of course, we can go onto Investopedia, and basically one of the main characteristics of it is that the volume is continuously trending downwards. As the prices rise, there's a divergence between the volume and the price. But on Alchemy Pay, we do not see that relationship. We see basically spikes in volume there every time the prices get towards that resistance. The volume here is quite sporadic. Of course, it starts to decline between the first two peaks there, but on the third peak, the volume actually rises again. And of course, that's actually mentioned as a red flag here, a warning sign. Basically, if there's rising volume in the pattern, erratic volume changes, which we definitely do have here on Alchemy Pay, then this rising wedge is not a reliable bearish pattern. And of course, in fact, given the way Alchemy Pay is shaping up, I still expect a breakout to the upside more likely than to the downside, with the fact that volume is rising, so interest is growing here. Of course, as interest grows, there's going to be more holders here on Alchemy Pay, and as prices rise, that will also mean that trading volume probably rises as well, and we will probably see a breakout to the upside. And if we do, then like I say, prices could get to 39 cents. So that's my 2025 price target here for Alchemy Pay. In the shorter term, I'm looking at the result of that short-term triangle that we are seeing. I'm looking at the 12 cents region. That's where the 1.618 fib told us that Alchemy could go to. If we can get to that level, another level that I'll be looking at is the previous all-time high at 20 cents. If we can break past that, then 39 cents would be the next target. So that's my price prediction here for Alchemy Pay. Do let me know down in the comments if you are holding Alchemy Pay, what your personal price targets are for this token. And otherwise, guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I'll see you in the next one.